What is yours, my friend?
Well, I'm becoming pretty aware of my disdain for the federal government and their overreach, and I'm sure everybody's getting tired of hearing it, but I got to talk about it some more.
Okay.
Okay.
Preach to us.
So I pull up the Google News every morning, and then also every day after lunch, just to see what's happened in the 4 hours while I was doing other things.
Right.
And I come across to where somehow it's made it to the federal level, and I don't know, maybe by now when you hear this it's decided, but they were deciding on how or if to make it illegal for homeless folks to sleep outside. And I just can't wrap my head around where in the hell are you going to take them?
Yeah, where they're
Like if
supposed
they're
to sleep.
homeless, like
Isn't that
without a home. Now I can understand maybe there's some places that people shouldn't be sleeping. If I'm a private property owner, maybe I don't want a homeless encampment on my private property. Okay, that's absolutely enforceable. If we're on an interstate, you can't have folks just sleeping on the shoulder because it's a safety concern, not only for them, but the folks. I'm pretty sure you hit a sleeping bum and it's going to do some damage
to your car.
Yeah, like the bum may not be the only one to die.
Yeah.
And, but at any rate,
depends, I think, maybe what you're driving.
I don't know.
If you got enough ground clearance, you might just go.
The problem is with ground clearance is the more ground clearance you have, the weaker the pivot points are in the vehicle because you got them in a tighter angle. I mean, you hit a big bum in a lifted truck and the front wheel falls off.
How many fat homeless guys do you know?
Well, I think in this day and age, we're going to start seeing more and more. So here's my theory.
All right.
Because it would seem real easy to say, okay, it is illegal to sleep on a roadway or within the easement of the roadway, which is normally, 15 or 50 feet off center or whatever. And that'd be a pretty easy thing to do. So I think, why would we want to just outlaw sleeping outside? Because that's just camping. But the only reason that you'd want to outlaw sleeping outside is if you're hoping to overpopulate your jails. And why would you want to overpopulate your jails? Well, you want to do that because then you can put more taxes on the folks that are working and make them think that they want it because, hey, we got this problem. There's an epidemic. You got the crackheads down the road. Like that goofy old fart from Texas. God dang. You don't like cops?
George
Next
Bush.
time you're in trouble, call a crackhead. Or maybe it's Kentucky.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Kentucky.
But that old
Texas, Kentucky.
that old fogey. But
Lindsey Graham.
I think what they're wanting to do is scare folks that are paying taxes into paying more taxes because I don't think that the government is in it to win it for the folks. Because there's many more better ways to solve this issue than saying we're going to arrest a homeless person for sleeping outside or giving them parking tickets. And the fact of the matter is you got so many daggum benefits for folks. I think it'd be easy to be homeless and get fat because you're getting a certain amount of money, and that money's supposed to be able to get you through like housing and at least be able to live. When now housing's so inflated, all you can do is get drunk and eat cheeseburgers. Which sounds like a great time other than the no roof situation.
Yeah.
But I just can't believe that would get to federal court. The tax money going into the proceedings of that are just, I imagine, insane.
Well,
it's Senator John Kennedy from
Kennedy. That's what.
Yeah, from Louisiana.
You don't like cops? Call a crackhead. That guy.
That guy probably ought to be tested to drive.
Yeah.
That old fogey.
Yeah.
He's an interesting character.
Oh God, he's a
sure.
wildcat.
I think, Dave, to your problem on taxes, I mean, the bigger picture is our elected officials just spent $95 billion.
Yeah.
But they banning TikTok within a year.
That's
only
important.
if they don't sell. What is it? Only if they don't sell to a non-Chinese. What is it? What's the stipulations?
Well, they probably don't want it going to the commies.
If they divest any interest they have in the CCP, Chinese
The-
Communist
yeah.
Party.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean,
So long, TikTok.
Dave,
I used to be one that thought, like, I vote, but I honestly don't think my vote matters as one person, just the way it all works. Like, it can't stack up. So for the longest time, I wouldn't vote Libertarian because I felt like it was just a waste.
Totally just a waste. Yeah.
But that is the mindset that makes it to where we get in this crazy shit show spiral of $96 billion for TikTok. And you know what we should do? Let's start a war on hobos.
Yeah.
Like, what the?
What about making what was remember the TikTok I sent you guys about or was maybe Couch Guys started it. I'm not who started it, but the TikTok where they allocated funds for a railway on the moon.
Oh, yeah. You got to have the old space train.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
space trains. Like what are we doing? You know
Well,
what I mean? Like
and
what are we doing?
And the other, I think it was California, maybe it was Los Angeles, $13 billion to tackle homelessness, and it didn't get any better. It just got worse. And you know what it is? It's the non-for-profits, and it goes to the people that are running these non-for-profits that are the
making
CEOs.
heller salaries
And then-
being good
And they're making,
Samaritans.
it's exactly right.
Heller salaries being good Samaritans.
And then those, guess who donates to those?
The
the
lobbyists.
Suckers like
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. I think it would be interesting. I think
Now,
it's-
I don't think you should be able to sleep on the street.
I'm not saying I'm
Okay.
like, hey, let's have just rampant homeless camps, but just to say, let's make it illegal so we can arrest them.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is that going to solve? Because
Well,
it seems to me they're looking for a
a
good
lot of
place to
it-
sleep anyway.
Well,
a
here's
lot
the
of
pro-
it's already illegal anyways. 'cause
You're
it's
right.
Trespassing.
They're transients, or there's loitering.
Yeah.
There's loitering
Yeah.
clauses. There's all these things. But like,
Stuff's been on the books for a while.
here's my question: there's not enough homeless shelters in the world to accommodate the amount of homeless people there are in the world. So if they make it illegal for like you said, where are they going to go? Like what?
That's what- it's not going to solve anything. You're
No.
going to have more expenses on the government, the local government, because now they got to house these people.
Mm-hmm.
You've got paid employees now
Yeah,
that
that's
have
what I
a
was going to say.
job
You got to
of,
have people that
we
are.
got to go out and beat the street. Got to go round up some bums. Got to meet the quota.
Now, do you remember bum fights?
Yeah, we've
Yes.
talked about bum fights
With
a couple
Rufus.
times. Yeah,
Rufus.
yeah. It seems to me to
Fighting
be
over
like
rocks
there's.
of crack cocaine.
Oh, it's terrible.
I just don't know how that solves anything to make it illegal to sleep. And it's in Oregon. Like, how many? This all started in Oregon. How many
Seattle.
homeless camps are there? Well, that's Washington.
That's Washington. It's not Oregon.
Yeah.
What dumb fuck?
Portland.
Portland. That's
There
what
you
I
go.
meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, Portland.
Well, but if you look at those places and you look at those areas,
Portland is. God, I couldn't imagine living in Portland.
I got
It's
kin in
wild.
Portland.
I know you do, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying, like, poor them. I just think that is a
Well,
wild place.
Just all the money they've spent to make it illegal to spend more money. It seems like you may have been able to get the
But-
right people in a room and come up with an actual
but,
solution.
but you're missing the point. There's the other half of the equation that's getting fat rich.
That's what I'm driving at.
Your disdain is at the government, which is rightly so. But there's also the other side of those non-government organizations, these not-for-profits that take all this money.
Mm.
It's just like when Portland, I think it was Portland, I don't know if it was statewide. Your kinfolk up there in that area might correct otherwise, but where they basically legalized everything, every drug imaginable
Yeah.
into small amounts. And the whole idea was, well, we are going to want you to go
Okay, wait a minute. Did they legalize it or decriminalize it?
decriminalize
Yeah.
it
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
to certain levels of what you can have.
And then you
Yeah.
could go get your needle kit at the nurse.
Yeah.
And she'd check
But
you out.
the thing
and
of it
give you
is
your
all
bump
these
kit.
tax dollars goes to these NGOs.
Mhm.
And if there's one thing I've learned about
What's
addiction,
an NGO?
non-government organization,
Gotcha.
but they're basically an arm of the government, or they rely on tax dollars. So these NGOs and these other non-for-profits, they boost these candidates, they pay money to these candidates, and then when these candidates get into office, they do these policies where they say, hey, we're going to decriminalize heroin because mom and pop's rehab center down there, you can go down there, you can get help, and you can get what you need.
Mm-hmm.
If there's anything I've learned in my past life of representing people that have addiction issues, it's not going to help.
No.
It's not going to help until you want to help your addiction,
Mhm.
until you get that point. You can have somebody that sits in a local county facility enough time to get off the high and the low of methamphetamine. But you know, the first thing they're doing when they get out, they're going to go back to use it. And so that's what happens. You're mad at the government, but it's the fact that it's this cyclical relationship, this
symbiotic.
Well, yeah, of this relationship where
one's feeding off the other, and they just
and they keep doing it. And I think it's going to take a guy like Elon Musk, who, whichever side of the aisle you're on, Elon, I think, is legitimately trying to make Twitter, or X, formerly known as Twitter. I don't know how you say it anymore.
Yeah,
it's trying to make X a place where there's an exchange of ideas and information and a freedom of that. And I think that there's going to have to take a guy like that sits there and says, listen, you on the left, you guys are just as dumb as the people on the right. You on the right, you're just as dumb as people on the left. The only smart ones are the centrists, but the centrists can't seem to get their shit together to where they can start moving their muscle and weight around to where you can fix it. But you got to start reining in the government, the money you spend in these governments, and where this money goes out. Because how many times do you hear freaking news articles about lost, like, hey, we lost $2 billion. How do you lose $2 billion? How do you lose, how does that happen?
Yeah, it's wild, man.
So, I don't know.
Anyway, that's been my bitch. I mean, that among many other things with based around the same thing.
Well, and it doesn't help like when we get our local property tax statements.
Mine went down.
Ours
did not.
Janelle said ours was about the same as
I think ours went down $75-$80, but I thought for sure we were going to get our eyes effed out because of that.
Well, you got your eyes effed out last year, probably.
Well, but how long will it take to catch up since the property transfer as of late? You would thought that would have been tacked onto this year.
Well, when did it sell?
Well, I don't know. Last fall.
So, no, it'll be next year in the spring and fall that it'll affect.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because you're paying 2024, paying 2023 now. So,
yeah. So,
anyway, that's what I've got. Tad.
What a wild deal.
Yeah.